Hi, Mystery Recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain a British dystopian thriller film called High Rise. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. The movie starts in a dilapidated and totally out of order high-rise building where trash and corpses are lying all around. The protagonist, Dr. Robert Liang, is one of the few survivors who is seen scavenging his floor until he finds a dog. Robert takes the poor animal with him and starts feeding it. However, the next second, he finishes it off and spit roasts its leg. Such is the situation of the high-rise. Every living being, even humans, are considered food. Following this, we are taken to 3 months earlier. Situated in the outskirts of London, the 40-story tower has just been constructed by esteemed architect Anthony Royal. He claims that the housing offered by this high-rise is the most lavish yet affordable in all of England, with amenities like swimming pools, spas, gyms, and even primary schools for children. One could hardly argue with the lavishness of this place. In no time, hundreds and thousands of people flood the high-rise and start living there permanently. Out of the 40 floors, the top ones are occupied by the wealthiest people, while the lower ones by the poor. The disparity increases even more in the course of the next few months, as people are categorized on the basis of the floors they live. For instance, a guy who lives on the 26th floor is considered wealthier and more elegant than the one on the 25th. As for the people on the ground floor, they are barely considered people. For most, they are just barbarians. But they don't have to use the elevator. One day, Dr. Robert Liang also moves into the high-rise. He has no family or friends, so he lives alone on the 25th floor. Robert loves wearing formal suits so much that he even sleeps in them. It's either the suit or no clothes at all. There's no in between. One day, as he is sunbathing on his balcony, naked, a woman from the 26th floor named Charlotte spots him. Smitten with his good looks, she immediately invites him to her party that evening. There's nothing low-key about that dong. Later, Robert gets dressed and heads to the School of Physiology, where he works as a lecturer. In one of his classes, he gathers some students and cuts open a human head to describe the brain segments. Unfortunately, one of the students named Monroe cannot bear the sight, so he collapses on the floor. That evening, Robert attends Charlotte's party and gets to know that she is a single mother. He then befriends a struggling filmmaker named Wilder and his heavily pregnant wife Helen. Although the latter is kind and generous by nature, Wilder is arrogant. He doesn't miss a single chance to flirt with other girls, even if it is in front of his wife. As the party goes on, Robert gets drunk and has a lovely time with his new friends. The next morning, he wakes up hungover, so he calls his workplace and asks for a leave. Then he goes to the local swimming pool with Charlotte, where he sees middle and lower class people swimming. Robert, however, cannot dive into the water because he is dressed in his formal attire. Wearing anything other than that is an act of sin for him. Just then, a daunting-looking guy named Simmons arrives there and takes Robert away, saying that Mr. Royal wants to see him. Inside the elevator, Robert tries to have small talk, but Simmons completely ignores him. Shortly after, they arrive at Mr. Royal's lavish penthouse, where he appears to be making some diagrams for his upcoming buildings. After welcoming Robert to his place, Mr. Royal reveals that he damaged his leg in an accident years ago, so he wants it treated as soon as possible. However, to his dismay, Robert mentions that he is only a physiotherapy teacher, not a doctor. Nonetheless, Mr. Royal invites him to his wife's party the next day. "You're getting drunk and you're fixing my leg." That night, Robert once again meets Charlotte and ends up having coitus with her. Unfortunately, at the peak of their romance, her son walks in on them. This prompts Robert to quickly get dressed and leave the place, embarrassed. The following day, he attends Mr. Royal's wife's party on the top floor, only to learn that it is an 18th century costume party. Seeing him dressed in a suit, everyone makes fun of him, even his student who had passed out earlier, Monroe. Robert ignores him and heads to a corner to grab a smoke, but just then, Simmons arrives and knocks him out. To make matters worse, when Robert gets into the elevator, the power suddenly goes out, trapping him inside for hours. Several days pass by, but the load shedding problem has still not been resolved. So the lower floor tenants start demanding answers against the management. Soon, the protests turn into riots, which are led by none other than the arrogant filmmaker Wilder. Meanwhile, Robert heads over to work and orders a brain scan of his student Monroe. The results come out clean, but Robert, who is still angry about how he was treated last night at the party, lies to Monroe that he has a brain tumor. Hearing this, the latter is devastated. One day, to protest against the increasing discrimination in the high-rise, Wilder organizes a party for a bunch of kids. As he is busy preparing the food, his wife Helen approaches him and mentions that the rich guys aren't allowing them to use the local pool. It has been weeks since she has gotten to take a dip inside the water. Hearing this, the already agitated Wilder becomes even more furious. So he rounds up all the children and heads to the swimming pool. There, he crashes the rich people's party and humiliates them for being self-centered and egotistical people who only care about themselves. After this, he dives into the water, finally making them leave the place. Unfortunately, once everyone is out of sight, he finds one of their dogs and brutally takes it out underwater. At this point, the electricity inside the high-rise has gone out, and even the backup generators have stopped functioning, leaving the people in total darkness. Soon, Robert arrives at the pool to check on his friend, but when he notices the lifeless dog, he is devastated. In the next scene, the residents of the lower floors, led by Wilder, start partying in the hallway. Although the situation is very dire, and the disparity between the rich and poor keeps on increasing, they simply want to have some fun tonight. In the midst of all this, Wilder clashes with Simmons and beats him to a pulp. His wife and Charlotte notice this, so they decide to let him do whatever he wants. Soon, Robert also joins the party and starts dancing like a maniac. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to everyone, a depressed and drunk Monroe goes to the edge of the building and commits the unthinkable. The loud bang startles everyone, and when they go to check, all they see is a bloody mess. Robert is devastated to learn that his prank has gone too far. Unfortunately, things get even worse in the morning. Along with the electricity, the water supply also runs out, leaving the tenants in a state of shock. This makes Wilder lose his cool, so he decides to make a documentary of the high-rise and submit it to the authorities. Wilder is especially angry about the fact that an innocent person has committed the unthinkable, yet not even a single cop has come to investigate the case. He believes that Mr. Royal has paid off the entire police department to stay away from his projects. Upstairs, the upper-class guys discuss how the poor people have suddenly gotten out of control. One of them suggests teaching them a lesson by throwing an even nicer party, while another guy says that they should loot all the remaining supplies left in the high-rise. The latter's idea is voted by the majority, and hence they form a gang and start their own reign of terror. Over the next few days, the situation inside the building continues to deteriorate. Due to the lack of electricity and proper drinking water, the remaining food supplies also start dwindling at a rapid rate. Moreover, crimes like robbery, assault, and even kidnapping become rampant. The people slowly start going insane, and Robert isn't an exception. Although he goes to work every day, he cannot focus due to the lack of proper nutrients in his body, causing him to fall asleep most of the time. When things get out of control, he quits work and starts exercising 10 hours a day. The gym is littered with garbage bags and human excrete, but Robert doesn't care. He just wants to exercise in his formal clothes. One day, as Wilder is filming the chaotic situation inside the supermarket, the rich gang from upstairs arrives and attacks him. They beat him up mercilessly and dump him into the garbage disposal area. Meanwhile, Robert also gets into a fight with a stranger over a bucket of pain. Despite having never laid hands on the person before, he punches the guy repeatedly, rupturing his eyeballs. It appears as if the situation inside the high-rise has turned everyone into animals. That evening, the pregnant Helen visits Robert, who gladly shows her around his apartment. One thing leads to another, and they start getting intimate. Meanwhile, upstairs, Mr. Royal is still working on his new designs despite everything that has happened with this one. There are several intruders who have barged inside his house, most of whom are having intercourse with random people. Just then, Simmons informs Mr. Royal that his wife has been kidnapped by the lower tenants. They are currently mistreating her by making her dance. Hearing this, Mr. Royal gets enraged and heads downstairs with a golf club. Eventually, after navigating through the desolate floors, he finds his wife and somehow brings her back with him. Elsewhere, a bloodied Wilder staggers back to his apartment. He is now hell-bent on murdering Mr. Royal, as he blames the architect for all the ongoing problems. To his luck, he finds Mr. Royal's housemaid and coerces information out of her. He also borrows her pistol, promising to pay her in the millions once he gets the job done. Following this, he heads to Charlotte's apartment and forces himself onto her like an animal. The poor woman begs and pleads for help, but so are hundreds of other women who are being harassed just like her. That evening, the guys at the top floor find out about Wilder's activities and decide to take action. Simmons suggests that they ask Robert to lobotomize him. Mr. Royal believes that this is a bad idea, but when the guys insist, he gives in. Following this, the guys butcher Mr. Royal's pet horse and eat it for dinner, as there is no food left in the supermarkets. The strange thing is that despite everything happening, no one wants to leave the building. In the next scene, Robert approaches Wilder in his apartment and interrogates him about his recent activities. The latter explains that he feels guilty for what he has done, but it is the situation that has turned him into this animal. He also laments about his inability to save his family and the fellow tenants who are dying every day due to the carelessness of the management. Hearing this, Robert realizes that Wilder is actually the sanest man in the entire building, so he drops his plan of lobotomizing Wilder and leaves. However, just as he reaches a bit far, Simmons and his men ambush him from behind and carry him upstairs. There, they beat him up for not obeying their orders and take him to the edge of the building. The guys are about to throw him downstairs, but just then, Mr. Royal arrives and stops them. Despite everything that has happened, the architect of the high-rise still believes that he can make things work and revert everything back to normal. So, he doesn't want any more people to die. At night, Robert, Charlotte, and some other lower floor people have dinner with Mr. Royal, where he explains that he is soon going to renovate the high-rise. He has already separated a large budget for it. All he needs is a good engineer. Suddenly, Helen, who is also there, goes into labor and gives birth to a baby boy. This makes all the people present there happy, and they start celebrating with loud cheers. Unfortunately, their happy moment is soon cut short when Wilder arrives there with his gun. He spots Mr. Royal and initially chastises him for all the havoc he has laid upon the people. Then, he pulls the trigger and strikes the architect right in the chest, killing him on the spot. With this, Wilder's mission is finally accomplished, and he starts laughing maniacally, like this. However, as he is about to depart, the angry relatives of Mr. Royal surround him and brutally execute him with their knives. Robert watches all of this from a distance. He is neither concerned nor terrified. He just wants to go to his room and change into a new suit. The following morning, Robert and Charlotte give Mr. Royal a proper burial in the swimming pool, while the rich women at the top floor start looking after Helen's infant child. As the days pass, Robert starts going insane. He refers to himself in the third person and keeps acting as if he is a doctor. The only good thing is that he and Charlotte start living together. Then, one day, while he is searching for food, he stumbles upon Mr. Royal's dog. The movie ends as Helen's son listens to the radio, where Margaret Thatcher is giving a speech. She says, "Where there is state capitalism, there can never be political freedom." Little on the nose there, Margaret. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.